although still widely advocate and used by traditionalists. The advantages of a chalkboard: it's inexpensive, it's easy to use, and it provides a visual stimuli. Now, there's nothing wrong with using a chalkboard. The chalk itself and the eraser, it's not so much expensive. The biggest problem facilitators are facing with a chalkboard is it's messy. Your hands get dirty. But again, if you have a large group and perhaps you have a chalkboard in your venue, you can use a chalkboard if you have no other options. This is where you start weighing the advantages towards the disadvantages. Whiteboard, exactly the same as a chalkboard. The only difference is it's being used with a Koki pen. Similar in function, but more versatile than the chalkboard. Colored felt tip pens are used on the glossy white surface, which is also useful as a screen for slides and film projections. If the white surface is metal backed or magnetic aids may be used. So you can see it's exactly the same as a chalkboard. The only difference is now you start using colorful pencils or Koki pens. But it also has it has an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is it's cheap to use. It's easy to use. The disadvantage is it can't accommodate a large group of participants because your whiteboard it only has a diameter or a certain measurement. Another disadvantage of the whiteboard is once you have explained a section and you've wiped the board clean, you can't refer back to the section that you have explained. So if someone gets lost between the explanation and you wipe the board, then you need to start all over again. That's the biggest disadvantage with a whiteboard and the chalkboard. A flip chart, a large pad of paper or washable thick polystyrene sheets are attached to the flip chart. They can be flipped over or torn off when wanting to start fresh. When writing on the sheets may be turned back in sequence as the lecture progress. This method has become extremely popular in the training in recent years. It is so. There's a big advantage with a flip chart. The flip chart is easy accessible, so meaning you can move the flip chart around inside your classroom. And also, as you can see there, as you start your lecture or your facilitation, you can just fold the paper over and start on a new paper. So if you need to refer back to a section, that information is never erased because you can just flip back to that section. Or you can tear the paper off. So this is why it's also a most effective visual aid to use in the training industry. Advantages. Presentation or discussion topics can be developed with the audience. It can be created interactive discussions with the audience. It's easy to use and it's cheap. Time can be saved when recorded information is already on the flip chart. It provides a permanent record of work done. Flip charts are easily moved within the area. enables trainers to build up presentation structure, and it's portable. Can you see the advantages of using a flip chart? But again, have a look at the disadvantages and see then if it's suitable for you. The disadvantage is it is appropriately only for small learning groups. Skills are needed to ensure total effectiveness of visual aids. The size of the flip chart is limited for recording information. So if you have a large group, let's say about 30 participants, I would not recommend using a flip chart because there might be some participants that could not see or that's not participating in your facilitation. Preparing the learning environment. So now we know we have visual aids and so forth that we can use, the different visual aids. Now we need to start having a look at our environment. Where are we going to conduct our facilitation? Questions and answer guides for choosing a classroom. Very important, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't structure your classroom appropriately, that might also have an effect on your facilitation, believe it or not. Because if you use an inappropriate seating arrangement, this is what we're going to have a discussion about now, then some of your learners might not see on the screen, some of the learners might not hear you, and then they get lost. They tend to cut off. And this is the last thing we want. Right, questions and answer guides for choosing a classroom. How much space should we allocate for the classroom? 1.5 square meters per participant. Is there a configuration that works better than others? For example, is a wide or a short classroom preferable to one that's square? It should be as nearly square as possible. This will bring people together both physically and psychologically. The room should be at least 3 meters high. This allows a projector screen to be placed high enough so the learners in the rear can see over, not around the people in front of them. The distance from the screen to the last seat of rows should not exceed 6W. In other words, 6 screen width. The distance to the front row of seats should be 2W. In other words, twice the width of the screen. The proper viewing width is 3W, which means this is 1.25, 1.5 width from the center line. This is just basic guidelines if you are uncertain regarding your classroom. Now, as you can see, we always try and look for a venue that is in a square form. For one simple reason, if your venue is in a square form, it makes it easier for you to facilitate and to interact with your participants. Where if you have a round training room, it will make it extremely difficult for you to interact with each participant and also for them to physically take part in the facilitation. Because where do you place yourself? So always have a look at, when you go and have a look at training venues, that they are as square as possible. How much table space should we allocate per learner? After the PC are placed, if any, there should be at least 30 linear inches with a depth of 45 to 60 centimeters per learner. This allows them to spread their papers during activities. So again, there also need to be space between the tables of the learners, so they can also freely work through their materials, and also if there's any demonstration that needs to be conducted, that they can move freely between the seatings. What type of seating arrangement should we use? This depends on the learning environment that you are trying to obtain. Traditional round tables will always be in style, and in additional round tables lends itself to better conversation amongst learners for small group sessions. Now we move over to setting up your training room. Remember, this is all part of your planning for facilitation part. Very important, setting up your training room. So now I'm going to show you the different types of seating arrangements. Believe it or not, there is also seating arrangements, different types that we can use. It's also, again, depends on the course that you're going to facilitate, which one you want to use. Setting up the training room. The setting up of a training room is an important aspect of the design of a session. Certain methodologies require specific settings. The setting needs to be consistent with the objective and character of the session. And the whole atmosphere has a strong influence on the process during the session. There are a number of standard settings, each with its own purpose, advantage, and disadvantage. So as we see now, it's very important. It's a very important aspect of setting up your training room and how you set up your training room. Let's have a look at the different types of arrangements, seating arrangement. First of all, you're going to have a look at this assembly room. Here you can see this is a picture of a assembly room. Now, as you can see here, this seating arrangement can accommodate a large group of participants. Where you see the word presenter, this is where you would find yourself situated, so as a facilitator. Now, there's a problem with the seating arrangement. Yes, it's fantastic to use for a large group of people, but there's no space in between the tables and chairs for you to move freely. So which means is you can't interact with your learners. Another disadvantage we have, look at the back row. Do you think anyone at the back row would see what you are busy presenting, or would hear what you are busy presenting in front? So if you have a large group, you might consider using this seating arrangement, but be aware there might be adjustments on your visual side that you need to implement for the seating arrangement to be effective. The advantages: everyone is facing the front, can be set up relatively cheap and quickly using existing facilitations, large rooms and chairs. Large numbers up to 70 to 80 people can be accommodated. It puts the candidate facilitator and learner in total control and the focus of attention. So everyone is facing you as the facilitator and not facing anyone or any other objective.